through year 1 and year 2, I was in a private school, right?
Check you out, bloody hell.
Yeah, I know, mate.
Posh boy, God.
I was just being the boss. And
people would just call me Gummy, which I thought was a bit weird. But then when my teeth grew, obviously you're trying not to laugh.
there was this one particular time that stands out, and he said, it was like one random day at lunchtime, he come to me, he said, next Friday, you're dead. And I'm thinking,
How old are you?
year 7.
Year 7.
Year 7. He said, you said what? And I said, you heard. I said, you're shit and you cheat. Right? And
Mate.
the second I said cheat, he threw a punch, and before you know it, I've got 3 people on top of me. It was sort of the first time I told my mum that someone had physically bullied me, because
throughout that whole time she did that.
because I feel like as a child, you know it would kill your parents. It would make them feel so guilty.
Which if you would have told me 2 months ago, Sam, you're going to walk 14 miles, I'd have told you to fuck off.
Okay, and welcome to episode 3.
Number 3, we're getting through them quickly, mate.
Yeah, mate, we're smashing them out. We're doing well.
Dedicated to the cause.
Dedication to the nation.
Podcast.
Yes, exactly, Sam. That is us, mate.
That is the name for those who didn't know. The Chat All About It podcast with me, Sam, and Jack.
Do you work on a radio station?
Well, potentially. No, I don't.
I don't.
But just letting people know, just in case they don't know who we are, mate. Which by now I don't know how you don't. But no, I'm joking. They don't know who we are.
I'm Jack.
Oh, I'm Sam.
And now they do.
They do. I'm Sam. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So this episode is going to be, unfortunately, it's going to be a bit more serious in it. But I will promise you there'll be some laughs.
I'm sure they will. But
yeah. I mean, let me kick it off. Right. So essentially, what we'd like to talk about is our school life, because me and Sam share in certain ways. I mean, I would say we share a school life, a school experience. I mean, let me just start the story quickly, because I think mine, I'm not trying to make this competition, I think mine is a bit
mate, it's not a competition.
Different. So through year 1 and year 2, I was in a private school, right?
Check you out, bloody hell.
Yeah, I know, mate.
Posh boy, God.
I was just being the boss, and basically, I would come home nearly every other day with like a new mark on my body, like a scrape on my knee or a scrape on my elbow, and that was from getting like pushed on the floor or kicked or punched. And anyway, essentially, my parents realised that my lie every day, it was like, oh, I fell over. They realised that wasn't the case, so I moved to a different primary. And that primary, there was only like 15 people in my year. So, yeah.
15 in the year?
Yeah, in the year.
How many classes did you have in that year?
Well, there's like year 1 to year 6.
Yeah, but you got like different classes within a year, so they kind of been like...
No, it's just one class, isn't it?
Oh,
it's just one whole... Yeah.
Was that just because
honestly, I swear there was like maybe 100 or 120 pupils in the whole school.
That's mental.
It's a very small school.
That's
so...
mad.
Being in that situation again of being bullied, because I mean, to make it a bit, that was
quite satisfying.
So I've lost my train of thought, but so basically being in that school of 120 people, 15 people in your actual year, and being in that same situation from being bullied for having orange hair, ginger hair, whatever you want to call it. At the time I took it so sensitively. When someone would turn around and call me a carrot head, or call me ginger, it sounds laughing.
It's funny, I can laugh at it now.
Yeah.
But I get what you mean.
I should be saying that, but yeah. I can laugh at it.
But it is such a pathetic thing to say.
Yes, I know, but I guess when you just started at school, it's the last thing you want to hear. It's the last sort of, because it's a complete sort of way of saying you are not welcome, sort of thing. And then secondary school was a big jump, because then I had 140 people in my year, right? So then
the size of your whole previous school.
I'm thinking, wow, and I'm thinking as well the same thing's going to happen, because essentially I did have bullies in primary and I did have bullies in secondary. But tell me what your situation was. Was your primary hard as well?
So my primary was hard, and it's similar in the sense of like appearance, but mine was like, so when I was really young, I think I was 7 or 8. I was riding on my bike and went over the handlebars and knocked my 2 front teeth out. So when I went to school, my nickname was Gummy. People would just call me Gummy, which I thought was a bit weird. But then when my teeth grew, obviously, you're trying not to laugh. But when my teeth grew, obviously, at the age of like 8, I had adult front teeth and then baby teeth all around me and like a child's face. So then my nickname from what must have been like year 3 or 4 up until secondary school was Rabbit Face. That was genuinely my nickname. And then I developed this issue as it was actually quite serious. Like I couldn't breathe properly, like through my nose. And that was mainly because like my sinuses and, you know, things in my nose were like constantly blocked and had to be tweaked. And I told my teacher that I'm going to need an operation on my nose. And obviously someone in the class heard that, and then all of a sudden my nickname became Michael Jackson because they thought I was getting a nose job. And obviously that was a time where very similar time as to when Michael Jackson put his baby over the balcony. Yeah. So it wasn't really something I wanted to be associated with. And what I found as well, I don't know if obviously I mean I went from primary straight to secondary. I didn't go from 2 primaries or 3 primaries. What I found is people that I was friends with in primary school, like really good friends with, people who would come around to my house every day after school, or people who I was in a football team with for 5 or 6 years, when I went to secondary, they became my bullies. Just because other people had potentially heard this, or, you know, someone would have said, oh, this person's nickname is Rabbit Face or whatever. Like, it sounds so pathetic. Like even when like we were playing football in PE, people would shout, "Rabbit, pass the ball!" Like, it's not my name. And I think it's more the sense of like I'd go home like distraught every day because, especially like with my teeth, it was a sort of thing I can't change that. That's something like similar to you. Like I think you, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you have tried to dye your hair before, but it's a sort of thing where, you know, I'm not gonna keep my mouth closed all the time so people can't see.
The thing is, it's quite an interesting dynamic when you actually look at a bully. When I look back at the bullies I had, you can now see they had a very troubled sort of family home. Yeah. And, you know, they were probably struggling with attention and they didn't have a lot of that attention. And essentially, my first bully I remember, which is quite hilarious looking back, he was smaller than me. And he would physically threaten me. And there was this one particular time that stands out, and he said, it was like one random day at lunchtime, and he would come up to me and he said, "Next Friday, you're dead." And I'm thinking...
How old are you?
Year 7.
Year 7?
Year 7, something about 11 or 12, something like that. So I'm thinking, wow, like, that is scary. Like, so... Yeah. Essentially, every day coming up to that, I'm thinking about Friday. I'm even being reminded by other people who aren't even the bully. Oh, are you? You're dead on Friday. Did you know that? And I'm like, right. Friday comes. I pretend I'm ill. Mum goes mad. Sends me into school. Mate. I can't tell her what's going to happen because I don't want to get people involved. So this kid walks up to me, and I'm kind of long story short. This kid walks up to me and bangs me in the lip, and he's got this ring on, and it busted my lip open, and I just had no idea how to react. There were loads of kids round, and I just kept walking away, and everyone just laughed. And looking back, it's so messed up, but I guess that is how kids culture in a school. And then I had another situation where, do you remember where Pixo was the thing, where you made your own website? I had a website about me. It was called the Anti-Jack Darby Club. Right.
What, someone made that about you?
Yeah, someone made that about me, and people would, from school, be invited to come to this website and post pictures of me, just standing about yeah.
That's a bit weird.
It's a bit weird. And then captions with, like, all sorts of weird stuff, like threatening me and talking about, like, how they thought I looked and everything. Anyway, to cut all this long... this did happen for quite a few years, like, similar sort of things. the last year, maybe it was the end of year 10, I was playing rugby. Really enjoyed rugby at that age. Got starting to fit. I felt so rejected playing football. I wasn't in that sort of league of popularity to be allowed to play football.
Okay.
I felt so. I enjoyed rugby a lot, and then when it came to playing, I was competitive. I wanted to win. I didn't care who was playing. It could be the most popular boy in school. I want to win. I'm not going to pass him the ball. I'm not going to be like. I'm not going to treat him any differently. And that's why I loved it, because I could get away with that. And I felt like football was a different dynamic. But with rugby anyway, this particular game, we lost. And the reason we lost is because this basically bully, he kept kicking all of these, including me, in the balls, right? Kicking me.
What, during the game?
Yeah, during the game. When the ref wouldn't be looking, he just plonked
On his
like
own
that.
team?
No, not his own team. Like against.
Oh, okay. I was
the
going to
other-
say.
the
I
other
thought it was
team.
like on his own team.
So, I mean, this guy was quite high in the popular leaderboard,
Okay.
and he was also quite a big bully. So looking back, I'm thinking, well, he's an arsehole. Like, I don't know. Anyway, at the end of the game, he was an arsehole. I don't know what he's like now, but anyway, he at the end of the game, he's coming up to my face and he went, "Yeah, we won," and they won by literally like a point or something. It was
Okay.
pathetic. And obviously I'm very passionate at the time, and you wouldn't dare ever, even me at this age, dare talk back to this guy. And I said, "You know what, you're just shit." And he turned around to me, he said, "What did you say?" Right?
Oh, mate,
And-
at that point,
but
you're
when I-
thinking, what have I done?
but when I said shit, it like almost echoed, because everyone's necks turned.
Just was
And
like a
they're
slow
like-
motion thing.
they're like-
what was that?
They're like, right, he's just literally asked himself to be killed, like, essentially. So he said, "You said what?" And I said, "You heard." I said, "You're shit and you cheat." Right? And
Mate.
the
Fair
second
play.
I said cheat, he threw a punch, and before you know it, I've got 3 people on top of me beating me up, right? The teacher eventually comes, right? This
How
is
long-
after
how long
like
was that?
maybe 30 seconds of just being
That's still a lot,
battered,
though. 3 people.
battered. And you know, I'm getting kneed in the head, I'm getting punched in the face constantly, like this is like constant. Anyway, as the teacher's come up, he's got me to like basically the first aid room, whatever. And my eyebrow was all. This is like the worst thing that ever happened to me in school. My eyebrow was ripped all open, so I actually
Lovely.
had to have stitches in my eyebrow.
Mate.
And it was sort of the first time I told my mum that someone had physically bullied me, because
Throughout that whole time she did
yeah,
that?
because I feel like as a child, you know, it would kill your parents. It would make them feel so guilty. So the reason why I'm bringing up this story is that I eventually thought, you know what, like I should be able to know how to throw a punch back, or at least to defend myself. So this is when I started getting into kickboxing, and I started to learn it. Started just to learn the basics. Just the basics really helped me, and it was really good fitness. Did it with friends, so it was a really social thing. It was fun, and then eventually, without even knowing it, psychologically, it became such a fix. It was like I was fighting my demons, like by punching the bag or punching the pads and getting better and better. I there and then thought, I've got nothing to worry about.
Was it not the sort of thing where if you're punching a bag, you could be thinking, this is that bully and this is that bully, like in your head, like to try and get over it?
Yeah, because there's still some very, like, don't get me wrong, I know this sounds really messed up, but I'm so happy I was bullied. I know that sounds so messed up, but I'm so, because it's actually moulded me.
I think you come out the other side better.
Yeah, I know some people don't, but I know personally that I've had traumatic moments, but I've actually benefited from it so much, because I can observe the whole situation when I look back and I go, this is the reason why you did that, and I don't wish them any harm now, you know. If anything, I'm sort of thanking them that they did that, because it really helped me gain a lot of confidence in life. By doing this kickboxing, I gained a lot of confidence and I felt secure with myself. And I did one kickboxing
I was
fight.
going to say, you actually trained for a fight.
Did train for a fight because I just wanted to experience that. You know, it's sort of like practicing for a football game, but never playing football.
Yeah.
So that went well. I enjoyed that.
You won, didn't you?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
just bigging you up there, mate.
Well, I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, bad. But no, but it's interesting because I wanted to do it, did it. I then got an eardrum injury, and that basically stopped me from ever wanting to fight again. And I felt like, you know, actually I do enjoy listening to certain things.
I think, you know, the fighting was, I think for you, perhaps, like, correct me if I'm wrong, after like the training and the fighting, it was ultimately like, I'm doing this because I've moulded myself into this sort of person from where I've come from. And I think regardless, because you're quite a strong character, I think regardless if you would have lost that fight, which you didn't, by the way, you did win. just to get that in there again, undefeated. Even if you didn't win, I still think you'd be like, do you know what, I'm alright because I've worked this hard, and the reason I've been able to do this is because I've grown as a person.
Yeah.
I think it's a positive story, mate.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, would you say you got to that level of physical bullying in school?
It wasn't,
because I'm not taking anything away from verbal bullying, because it's almost like bullying with people's mental health, and at that age, going through puberty and everything else, it can be so sort of daunting, because essentially it absorbs you. You're worried about the next time someone's going to call you something or treat you any differently because of your social status in school. Like,
I mean, the physical aspect of it wasn't as much as yours. Like, I never had 3 guys like effectively beating shit out of me for 30 seconds or however long it was. Like, pretty felt like longer. But mine would be, again, like I said, I had a lot of friends, or previous friends. Wow. Who weren't my friends when we went to school, and I feel like because we had previously had that relationship, they felt they had the right to just hit me. So we'd be walking in the corridor, and, you know, naively they'll be like, "Oh, what's that?" and then they punch me in the balls, like. And it's
what's
sort
the capital of Thailand?
Well, I'm not going to say that because
you know,
I know that.
I'm not going to do it.
But that's the sort of thing it would be, and it would be like, again, it's not as bad as yours, but I would, if I saw someone in the corridor, and say I'm in the corridor, my classroom's at the end, if I saw one of these people who would, you know, say something to me which was horrible or hit me, you know, in any particular way, I'd go out my way to walk around the school to get around the other side.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, I'm not, you know, I'm not saying you are, but I'm not like violent. I've never had a fight in my life. That's not really something that I've ever done. I probably can't see myself doing that. I'm more of a verbal.
It's the best way to be. I mean, even now, like, if I ever go on a night out and I see that there's some sort of fight going on, you just observe it. I mean, if anyone ever tried to start a fight with me, I'd never ever try to light the fire as such.
Yeah.
I would back off. If you have no choice but to defend yourself, then that's what you should do. But in most cases, I would run. I'd get the hell out of there and not get involved.
I mean, it sounds like
they're not worth it, mate.
Well, it sounds like a wimp's way out. But at the end of the day, if you go for a fight, like, I don't know how to fight. You know, you've done training, and, you know, I'm not saying you're the best fighter in the world.
No, neither am I. Neither am I at all.
But you know what to do. You know.
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah. Whereas for me, you know, I'm a bit more of a talker. I can talk my way out of situations. Yeah. But if someone wants to go for you, they're just going to go for you. So I'd quite honestly just rather get out of that situation, because I don't want the hassle.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, following on from the bullying thing, and you coming over in a positive way from your fight, we've had positive news, both of us, recently. Obviously, with the whole virus situation that's going on right now, it was a lockdown. Could be going back into lockdown, we don't know. And we've both, I'd say...
Ring, 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 and it's lockdown. Sorry.
What was it? Do you want people to turn off? Because that was mental.
I don't actually know where it came from.
Just don't do it
It's
again.
Skepta, isn't it?
I don't know, but let's just not.
let's pass that.
Yeah, I think we've both had positive weight loss stories, which I think is something that probably a lot of people are going through right now. And I'm not saying this that, you know, I was massive, but I was the biggest I had personally ever been, and just wasn't happy in myself. And that was more of like, because I was stuck inside, I thought, might as well stay inside. I didn't want to risk like going out.
Yeah, I was exactly the same. I wasn't big, but I was the biggest I had ever been, and I did feel uncomfortable. So this is even before lockdown. So this is like January. I'm thinking, wow, like, I know people put weight on after Christmas, but I wasn't anticipating
Yeah, of course.
this sort of weight
Who
gain.
was anticipating it?
So, yeah, and I'd also very much distanced myself from any sort of cardio work, and also my diet. My diet was anything and everything. Like, honestly, like, if I wanted to have a big, large packet of crisps, like a big bag of Doritos with my lunch, I'm going to do that. And there's no questions asked. Like, and if I want a pot noodle with that, I'll have that. And it's that sort of vicious cycle where I was constantly like eating so much bad food, even though I was going to the gym like 3 times a week doing weights. And I always thought, that's because I'm doing that, I can eat whatever I want.
Yeah. Different group as in effect. Like if you're eating a lot, you need that cardio.
Yeah, you're never going to outwork a bad diet, essentially, and that's what I found out a very bad way, because it took me so long. But essentially, what I started doing in lockdown, I just literally got a diet plan. Sophie helped me out. She's helped me out so much. Really, without her, I would have really struggled, to be honest. And also, I worked out 6 days a week, at least an hour of cardio, like HIIT training and weight training, and I've never been in the shape I am now, and that is a positive I can take away from this year. Even though that we've been in really sad times with the lockdown, I've been able to have that time and spend it productively, because at the beginning of lockdown I was doing bits down the biscuit aisle.
Mate, honestly,
like, I was cleaning up.
It's more the sense of like, so when I was in lockdown and wanted to do shopping, I was doing online shopping at the time, and I thought all this stuff is just so accessible. So like, instead of getting like my fruits and veg, I'll be getting my crisps and my chocolate, my fizzy drinks, and I'll be like, it just gets delivered to my door. Like, I don't even need to go out to get it.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you like working from home, you have a lot more free time, and you would just find yourself eating food that you.
It's boredom.
Yeah, it is. It's like, what can I do? Oh, well, we've got some sweets, or we've got some biscuits in the cupboard. Like, let's just walk past the kitchen.
And it was the sort of thing that you walk, like, I've got nothing to do, so let me just open the fridge and see what's in there.
Yeah,
and then half an hour later, oh, I wonder if there's anything to do with the fridge.
Yeah.
But for me, it's more the sense of like, during lockdown, like, don't get it wrong, this sounds a bit pathetic. I've never really cooked in my life. And I haven't necessarily got like a strict diet plan as to you, but I didn't know what was going in my body.
It's not, when I say diet plan, it's more of a target of calories. So that's essentially all I've done. I haven't counted my carbs or my protein or anything like that. I just say, this is this is the maximum amount of calories I can eat today. That's it. All it is.
So I mean, with me, it was.
Just to make it clear, I've lost 2 stone in.
I mean, that's pretty good.
In about let's say just under 4 months, so nice and slow. I've done it nice and slow.
I mean, so that's the thing. You've been doing it for a longer period of time. I've been going for, let's say, a month and a half, 2 months now.
Yeah.
And I mean, I probably didn't know what a calorie was, mate, because I was just eating my feelings.
Yeah.
Honestly, just eating, like, I was so down, doing nothing.
Well, do you do that when you're stressed? I do that. I eat a lot when I'm stressed.
When I'm stressed and when I'm bored. Like, those are the 2 key factors.
Yeah.
But I think like what I started to do was like I did a shop, and it sounds so stupid. Like, I went down in the shop. I was like, what looks healthy? And you know, I bought like chicken breast, fish. I had like I hated eating fish, and then I was looking at recipes online and like the calorie intake and what what goes well with certain things, but you're not eating too much, and what exercise you should do per the amount of calories you're eating.
Yeah.
And what I would do is, say I would just have like chicken and rice with some veg or something. What I would do is I'd go for at the start, I think I did like a 5k run in the early hours of the morning, because in the role that I was in, the job I was in at the time, I was working stupid hours, like up until midnight. So, you know, I wouldn't be tired till about 2 o'clock. So I go for a run at 1, and then on my lunch break I go for a walk. And now what I'm doing is I like, when I have the chance, I'll go for, I think I did a 22.5 kilometre walk, which is about, I think it was 14 miles. Which if you would have told me 2 months ago, Sam, you're going to walk 14 miles, I'd have told you to fuck off. Like, that's
D of E, mate. That's bronze Duke of Edinburgh, 15 miles.
Well, it was half marathon, pretty much. And like my weight loss, like you've been doing it over a longer period of time, I've lost just under a stone in a month and a half, 2 months, and you know, I think the feeling that it gives you mentally as well. Obviously, because we have been locked inside, and you might be feeling sorry for yourself and feeling down. Like I feel the best I've ever felt. Like I feel so positive, and you know, that's probably what's led to us doing this podcast. You know, the positivity, and you know, it's nice to see you happy. I'm happy, and
it's definitely a habit that I want to keep. I want to keep this up, and you know, don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna be doing 6 days a week the rest of my life, but you know, I just want to say that there's definitely positives out of this. You can make these positives happen.
I think it's more in a sense as well. I think it's more in a sense as well is like I'm quite strict on myself, so I won't have crisps or chocolate or fizzy drinks or anything like, or takeaways or anything like that at all. Like I'm really strict on myself. So when I reach my goal of what I want to, you know, my perfect weight, whatever that may be, you know, I will be less strict, because I'll know that I could potentially have a takeaway, but I know what exercise I can do in order to kind of counteract that.
Yeah.
And
makes sense.
I just feel better eating better food and looking after myself, and you know, it's a positive message I'm trying to spread, mate. That's what I'm trying to do.
Good man.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for listening. I hope this has been a productive listen for you. I hope this has been a feel-good listen. That's the main thing.
Well, I think we've turned the negative to a positive, mate.
Yeah.
From the beginning was slightly a low point, but we've turned it around.
Oh, I like that.
Yes, thank you very much. You know, just thought of that off the cuff, mate.
Okay, Sam. Well, please say goodbye.
We'll see you later, guys. I don't know what we're going to talk about in the next one, but I'm sure it's going to be fantastic.